The rain and sleet begins to ease on a dreary April morning. Two armies face each other across boggy Scottish moorland. It cemented a union, but it crushed a dream. This is the story of the Battle of Culloden. The Battle of Culloden took place on the 16th of April 1746, where the Jacobite army under Bonnie Prince Charlie were decisively defeated by a government force led by the Duke of Cumberland. The battle was the final showdown between the two factions. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe and share this video as we tell the story of the battle and explore the ground it was fought upon. Bonnie Prince Charlie landed back in Scotland in July 1745 and had quickly won back control of large swathes of Scotland. He also managed to invade south across the Scottish borders into England. The Jacobites reached as far as Derby before being forced to turn back. On the 12th of April 1746, the government forces forded the River Spey, which was guarded by the Jacobite commander Lord John Drummond. Lord Drummond commanded a force of around 2,000 Jacobites, but decided the position could not be held and retreated to Nairn. As the Cumberland's army approached, on the 14th of April, the Jacobites evacuated the town and the government army made camp just to the west. The main Jacobite army, numbering around 5,400, left Inverness on the 15th of April and assembled at Culloden Estate. Sir John O'Sullivan identified Drumnossie Moor as a suitable site for the battle. However, Lord George Moray felt that the flat open ground would favour the government forces and suggested a steeply sloping site near Daviot Castle. The eventual decision was to line up just to the west of the site chosen by O'Sullivan. On the night of the 15th, the government army were celebrating the Duke of Cumberland's 25th birthday. The Jacobites tried to take advantage of this, but their lines of communication and the distances involved were too much for the Jacobites. They had to turn around and make their way back to their camp. Many didn't return until after dawn on the day of the battle, and many missed the battle altogether due to falling asleep or foraging for food. On the morning of the 16th, the Jacobites formed up into their battle lines. The Highland regiments formed the first line. The left wing was led by James Drummond, the centre line by his brother John Drummond, and the right wing was led by George Moray. During the morning, heavy rain and snow saturated the ground, but cleared just before battle commenced. Cumberland's army left their encampment by 5 a.m. that morning, and by 10 a.m. the Jacobites got their first glimpse of the approaching government army. Cumberland gave the order to form line, and when within 500 metres of the Jacobites, ordered up his artillery. Cumberland noticed his right flank would be exposed and moved additional troops to reinforce it. At approximately 1 p.m, the Jacobite artillery opened fire. Shortly after, the government army responded. The Jacobites endured around 30 minutes of bombardment as Prince Charlie delayed their attack. As the order to attack is given and the Jacobites start surging forward, the government artillery switched to canister shot and joined by mortar fire. The rate of fire increased and the Jacobites found themselves advancing into heavy fire. As the Jacobite right wing advanced, the Jacobite centre started to move towards the right, to follow firmer ground and to try and avoid the canister shot. The regiments of the Jacobites became one mass bearing down on the government troops' left wing. The confusion in the Jacobites was worsened as 3 commanders are killed in action. The Jacobites' left wing was advancing more slowly due to the boggy ground and a further distance to cover. 3 MacDonald regiments stalled and resorted to wasteful long-range musket fire. Senior officers were also lost here on the left wing. The smaller units next to them advanced into an area swept with artillery fire and suffered heavy losses before falling back. Back on the Jacobite right, the Jacobites were hit hard by a volley of musket fire almost at point-blank range. Many of the Jacobites did reach the government lines and inflicted some losses before John Huske, who commanded the government's second line, quickly organised a counterattack which left the Jacobite right wing surrounded on 3 sides. Back again on the left wing, the Jacobites had failed to advance any further. Cumberland ordered up the dragoons to mow the Jacobites down, however the boggy ground also hampered the dragoons. Eventually the Jacobite left was routed. The retreat was aided by the French troops that were sent to help the Jacobite cause. The French formed an orderly line and exchanged fire with the government troops. The Jacobite used a wall to shelter from artillery fire as they retreated. However, government forces had laid in wait and forced them back into the open moor. The Irish pickets covered the Highlanders' retreat, and the stand by the French and others allowed Prince Charlie and other senior officers to escape. The battle was lost. The Jacobites split into several groups to make their escape. Their dreams of restoring the Stuart king to the throne was lost in an afternoon. Mass graves of the men who had fallen that fateful day can be seen upon the battlefield, buried beside their clansmen, and a memorial cairn commemorating the battle stands amongst them. Jacobite casualties of the battle are estimated to be between 1,500 and 2,000 killed or wounded. The government dead numbered 50, with 259 wounded.